Did you know that you could fart in a jar and make an NFT? Stephanie Matto has done this and made quite a bit of stinking money, no pun intended.
So we recorded a YouTube video the other day about fart NFTs because I was immediately obsessed with the thought and the creativity. And during that recording, I'm like, why don't we just hit her up? So here she is. Stephanie, welcome to the world's #1 NFT podcast. How are you?
Thank you. I am doing really good. I'm in Los Angeles today, about to go on like a little bit of a press tour for some podcasts and some shows to talk about fart jars because they've really captured the farts of America.
Yeah, the farts. I love puns. I live for puns. You have no idea.
We have to bring it back, Stephanie. Like, I know you're a reality TV star, you're a content creator. Was there like a thing with farting before you got requested from your audience to fart in jars? Like, has this been something that maybe you and your family all laughed about and teased about before? Like, what's your fart history?
Wow, I actually have not been asked that. So I'm glad you asked that because I have not been a very farty person. I am very fart shy, never farted in front of a boyfriend. My family doesn't really fart. Like, we're not like that type of family, right? So I actually lived in fear for several years of my relationships in the past that if I farted in front of my boyfriend, that he'd break up with me. So yeah, I never farted in front of my boyfriends. So that like this was kind of like setting myself free of any expectations and self-doubts and caring what people think. It's very symbolic of just, of not caring anymore.
There's Jamie Foxx has this stand up from forever ago where he talks about it. He's like, how do you know when your relationship is taking it to the next level? Because up until that point, like you got to hold it, like you got to hold them in or whatever. And he goes, until you're walking to the car after you had Mexican and you're like, just walk 10 steps ahead of me. He's like, why? What's wrong? And then all of a sudden it starts happening and then the fart barrier is broken. But I understand that. What a double standard. Men are horrible people. Heather and I were talking and it didn't start this way. You were on OnlyFans and then you started getting requests. And I was fascinated by the thought of what the hell that person said and how they even had the like audacity to ask you and be like, I'd like some of your fumes or whatever the hell they said. What did they say and how did you feel?
So I was on OnlyFans for a little while, but then I actually went on and founded my own platform, which is called Unfiltered. And I'm on there with like a bunch of other, I didn't know that. So I founded that platform last summer and, it's kind of like the boutique version of OnlyFans. It's a lot more catered to creators and building relationships with your fans. So I've gotten a lot of messages on there specifically asking for things such as farts and, vials of my spit, etc. And I always kind of thought it was a joke and that people were just messing with me or that like it was a hyperbole. But no, when I put the farts up for sale, they were actually selling. So these people that were requesting them were totally serious.
And you've made a lot of money.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The first batch I did, it was 97 jars and they all sold.
Now, you're a businesswoman. When you're like, okay, the deliverable is putting this thing in a jar. The process is the process. What I was thinking of is, what is the next iteration of this? Like, are some people going to be like, Stephanie, I want you to go to In-N-Out and I want it to be personalized. And, I want to make sure that that's where you went and that's what I get in the mail or whatever.
I went to In-N-Out last night.
I did not request it, Heather. All right. This is not, So what happens? Like, what are the next iterations? And does that make you fearful of like the lengths you got to go to in order to produce that hotness? Pun intended.
Yeah. So at one point it was becoming way too demanding for my body because, I'm not like naturally a very gassy person. And so there were clients who were requesting certain foods. One guy wanted cheese farts. And also a part of you feels like it's taking a mental toll as well because it's like you kind of feel like, okay, I'm just sitting around all day eating cheese. This isn't fun.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah. And also it just feels weird. Like I'm like, wow, what am I doing? What's going on?
Yeah. So that's why you transitioned into NFTs. Am I right with that?
Yeah. So it was like mid to going into like the Christmas time in December, I actually had a pretty embarrassing thing happen where I was producing a lot. I was making jars for customers. I had a lot of orders. And this one particular day, I did like 3 huge protein shakes. I did like a big pot of black bean soup. And like a little prior to that, I had already been discussing the concept of NFTs, but that day really like set this whole thing into motion because that night I ended up having some really serious chest pains and I felt like I was having a heart attack. So I had my friend take me to the emergency room. They did an EKG, they did a blood panel, and turns out it wasn't a heart attack. It wasn't a stroke. I was actually just having severe gas pain. So I was like, I don't want to be doing this to my body anymore. It's putting like a stop on my social life. I can't leave my house as much because I'm always at home eating massive quantities of beans and protein. And I just felt like the NFT thing would be fun. I've been interested in NFTs for a long time, like going back as far as like a year ago. I actually was, trying to get involved in another NFT project, but it never really took off. But it was like my first little foray into it. So, I started collaborating with a digital artist and developer, and we created this line of Jar NFTs. And we wanted to like put like a really fun, quirky message with it and just like see what happens. Because we did have like so much media attention as well.
What did that artist say when you hit him up for the hit him or her up for the collab? Were they like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what was that like?
Yeah. No, they were like super open to it. They thought it was funny. I think that sometimes like what I've observed with the NFT community is that sometimes it can be very like, taking itself so seriously, but like at the end of the day, like it's just art and it's supposed to be fun. And yeah, there's some serious projects which have very meaningful and important messages, but sometimes the world just needs a fart in a jar.
My mind goes to like being defensive over you, of like you like almost hurt yourself because of this, and like my heart goes out to you. I'm like, are you okay? Like I guess just like mentally, are you enjoying doing this? Has this been overwhelming, all the attention that you're getting? I mean, you didn't originally set out to brand yourself kind of as like the fart jar lady. Is this something that you're enjoying right now, or has it been difficult?
So I've gotten a lot of messages saying like, how do you feel about the fact that you're going to be fart jar girl forever and one day your kids are going to be like, what the hell, mom? The thing is, like, it has taken me a lot to completely let go of caring about other people's perceptions of me. And like, here's the thing. People have so many things that they think about me, but I don't think people even know what they think about themselves half the time.
Let's go.
Yeah.
All right,
Word.
ahead.
That's so good.
Yeah. And I think that, people just think whatever they want of me, and public opinion sways so quickly. One minute
That's so
people
true.
love you. One minute people hate you. You've got half the people saying, yes, queen, you go girl. And then the other people saying like, go kill yourself. You should be ashamed. So I've had to really let go of just caring at all what people think of me and really just only living for myself, doing things that just purely make me happy. But it hasn't been easy. Like, throughout the course of the few weeks that this has been going viral, it's been overwhelming for sure, but it's taught me a lot of like lessons, and it's like made me, I think, a stronger person in the end.
Good for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I have a feeling, just because I know that you did reality TV before, then you were into OnlyFans, and then this is just like an iteration. I feel like any entrepreneur, which we both are, like, dude, like we pivot when we see the opportunity. Like we're in NFTs because we didn't know what the hell was going on, but we had invested in them, and we're like, let's just freaking do a podcast about it. So what happens if it turns into like, I don't know, an NFT agency or something? Like we don't care what anyone thinks if we care. As long as we know that we're serving. So that's a roundabout way of saying like, I don't think this is the end. I feel like you're building business acumen this whole time anyway and getting familiar. And now you'd be like, yeah, I have a successful NFT project. Now I could take it to the next level. Do I have that right?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think that like I'm always evolving the idea of like fart jars. I mean, it started from, Unfiltered, and then it went into the fart jar story, then the fart jar NFTs, what's the next step? I'm not sure, but like there is no failure. There's only learning a lesson or success. And I've learned so much. And I think that the NFT project so far has been incredibly successful. Just within like a matter of a week or so, we've made $120,000 in NFT sales. So that's pretty awesome for, a brand new project like this that really just started with some hot air in a jar.
Good for you. Good for you. Do you have any just NFT lessons for our newbies as far as being a creator, or anything that you learned from the journey of like making and selling them? Is there anything that maybe you go back and do differently, or something that you're glad you did?
I think that I wish I just started sooner, because sometimes it feels like, getting involved in the NFT world right now, it can be so overwhelming. There's so much. And Twitter can be an amazing space to learn and to connect with people. But then sometimes I'm like, how many of these people are bots?
Yeah.
How many of these
100%.
people are real people? And also I'm sure there's some scams out there, and there is some hate too. You think that the NFT community will be super welcoming and inclusive and wonderful, but there are some people who are haters for sure. So I think it's about finding your group, your community, and trying to just make as many connections with people as possible. And then don't think that you are too dumb, because I've had so many people message me and say, oh, I don't think I could do it. I don't think I can understand it. It's just too complicated for me. And I'm like, no, just take a day or two, watch some YouTube videos, listen to some podcasts, maybe read a book, talk to me, message me, So I think that so many people feel discouraged because they're overwhelmed by the concept of it. But, you got to start somewhere.
Stephanie, with this NFT space, we've talked about it a million times on the show. A project, there's a few factors, right? Who's the person behind it? What is the artwork, or what is the NFT? But then obviously the utility. So utility is there's some business meetings they could have with you, people on a Zoom call. And I swear, and I saw it, and I don't know if it's true, but there's some that are redeemable for your panties. Is that true? And stuff like that?
Yes. Well, it's it's an option. It's a little novelty aspect. And the jars that do come with the redeemables, with the little chests on the NFT, those are considered more rare and valuable. So, possibly have a higher resale value. And hey, if someone gets their hands on one and is maybe I want a pair of panties, sure.
There's going to be a day where a guy is wearing your panties and sends you a picture, and he's going to be like, look. And you'll be like, thank you.
But I'm also offering one-on-one coaching with people who, as a redeemable, if they want to have a chat with me about how I built my brand, how I built my platform, how I've evolved over time as a creator, I have a lot of information that I can share.
Well, Stephanie, we keep them short and sweet. We do have a random question that we always ask out of this interview deck that we have.
And Stephanie, where can people connect with you online if they want to grab one of your NFTs? Where do they do that?
Yes. So fart jars are available to mint right now at fartjarsnft.com. Awesome. And also check us out on Twitter at fartjarsnft and also on Instagram.
That's awesome.
Perfect. Okay. This is our last question. It's so funny because it works here. Where do you go when you need to blow off some steam? But we already asked that one. Ooh. So the question, question for you today, was there something you asked for repeatedly as a child, but were always told no?
Oh my God. A dog. A dog. Every day of my life, I asked for a dog. And the minute I moved out of my parents' home, a month later, actually, not a minute, but I got a dog. And I have a pug. His name is Frankie, and he's actually part of the Fart Jar NFT project. We have little custom fart jar tops, and they're all, different objects. And we have one that's my pug, Frank. And then a few years after Frank, I got another dog. I have a black lab rescue named Milo, and he's also in the NFT project. So, my dogs are forever immortalized in the Fart Jars NFT project. And I'm very happy that I have dogs now, because that was my lifelong wish was to have dogs. So
that's awesome.
Very happy.
See, people, she made it happen. She wanted it. She got it. She made it happen. She wanted to serve other people who wanted to smell some flatulence in a jar, and she's making it happen for them as well. So join our Discord if you haven't joined, and definitely hit her up on Insta and Twitter and all that good stuff. And thanks for being here, Stephanie.
Thank you, guys.